Welcome back to the All Purpose Pod for an All Purpose Life, wherever you are today and however you're listening to the Call Me Mr. You, the podcast. We thank you again for making us a part of your morning, your day, and your week. We're your weekly mirror check before you change the world. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Please like, share, and of course, subscribe. Go change the world, baby. Good morning, Bo Meister.
How's it going, man?
Good, man. How was your week, man?
Good. Yeah.
Nothing crazy happened?
Nothing too crazy. I think the crazier thing that happened was just this morning because it's garbage day here and dragging the cans out. I had to chase off a black bear. So,
Chase off the black bear.
well, that's how you know you're back in the Pacific Northwest, right? So, but at least it was a black bear and not a cougar hanging out there. Because our cougars here are real ones. They're not drinking wine on a Saturday. Like they're not getting day drunk. These are real cats.
Wow. How did you chase off a black bear? That sounds more intimidating.
No, it's funny because black bears aren't really into people. Like it's not a grizzly bear where they want to beat you up for no reason. Like black bears really don't want to hang out with you. So if you kind of make some noise and stuff, and of course rolling a garbage can up there, it helps with that. I'm sure it'll be back, right? Because it's people's garbage. So he's probably going to be making a mess up there right now. But
wow. Bo's
so,
out here.
So yeah, welcome to the Northwest.
Gators in Florida and Bo's in the Pacific Northwest. And tagging out in black bears.
Bears and cats. Here we go.
I thought I heard everything. You topped it, Bo. Well, we're going into, I think it's week 9 now. The numbers are starting to get all jumbled together. To be honest with you, I'm not even sure where I'm at. But our poll question that we threw out several days ago, which recently traded NFL player will have the biggest impact on their team? From what I've been seeing on my Twitter feed, some of the things that I thought would be everybody's answer is not. It's other people. So we're going to talk about that at the end of the show when we go into our poll questions and comments and everything. But quick hits on college football. Did you see any games this weekend?
Yeah, so obviously I watched the Husky USC game.
Oh, I know you did, baby.
Right? Yeah. Well, and I actually got to watch this weekend, so that was cool. I had some time on Saturday, and it just happened to line up with the Husky game. So, I was happy with that. There were parts of that game that were, it was everything that you would expect out of a number 5 versus number 20. Like these are top ranked teams. They both got kids in the Heisman race. So it was a high powered offensive game. The defense left something to be desired, especially for the Huskies. Like you knew the SC didn't have a good defense. That's been the knock against them all season. But the Huskies defense is actually decent, although they didn't look amazing most of the day. They did just enough to win that game. But I wanted to see more out of that defense. There was definitely opportunity for them to be better than they were, but tackling apparently isn't being taught at the college level. Apparently that's just for pros and only some teams in the pros.
A little bit on the nasty side, brother. You had your coffee, okay?
No. I don't like bad football. Like wrap up. Don't throw a shoulder, wrap someone up, take them to the ground. Like make the tackle. It's something one of my old coaches used to always say. It's like, don't go out and try and make, the big play, just make a play and it can become the play. Right.
I love it.
Like wrap up, make the play. And then that can become the play if it creates the stop or whatever. You throw a shoulder trying to get that, Sports Center sound. I mean, if he bounces off, you're still going to be a highlight reel just on the wrong side.
Absolutely. I want you to hold off on your thoughts on the whole quarterback side. I want to talk about the quarterbacks in a little bit here in quick hits, but there was a whole lot of social about that. Well, about aspects of that game. I don't know why people are shocked. I mean, Washington's ranked 5th, right?
Exactly.
USC's ranked 20th. I mean, I don't know why people are shocked at what happened. I think one of the biggest shocks is how Caleb Williams reacted to what happened. My social media was pretty much blown up. It was all, I couldn't even get past it. It was all everywhere. Whatever time of day I went back into it, Caleb Williams crying on his mama's shoulder, all over them. Honestly, this is just for me. I mean, my athletic background is not as full as others, but for me, I'm like, okay, first off, we humans, number one. Number two, put so much investment, not just physical, but also the emotional investment, not just learning the X's and O's, but also just the camaraderie with your team, and so you're connected with them and you're a part of something bigger, the bigger picture, so to speak. All the the fans, and you hear them, and it's very tangible. Their impact on the game and on you. You hear their displeasure and you hear their approval. You hear all that stuff. And it's like when you lose a game that maybe you hope to win, or it has some kind of other ramifications. People talking about his draft stock, or talking about his him being in a Heisman race. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know if any of that stuff mattered, but he got emotional and he broke down. It's like, is that really a bad thing? I mean, all my Twitter friends, maybe they couldn't be my friends because they're pretty rough. All kind of names and stuff. I'm like, wow, you don't cry ever? Nothing makes you cry? Like, this is football. There's no crying in football. I'm like, wow, there isn't. These folks not even from New York, and they were hardcore. Like, he never survived in New York. I'm like, wow. I don't want him in New York for different reasons.
Sure,
it's not because he cried on his mother's shoulder. That's not why. I don't want that kind of quarterback there. I don't think that helps. I don't think that works with what we're trying to accomplish. And we'll talk about that at a later date, but I just don't feel like that's going to work with what we're trying to build as a team, the kind of team that we're building or trying to build anyway. I don't see that as a match, but what do you think, man? What was your thoughts? What was on your Twitter feed?
Yeah, so I mean, I saw that stuff too, and it's dumb, right? Like, I want my team to hurt in a loss. I want them to be passionate about the game they're playing. And also, I mean, taking cheap shots at this kid. I mean, he's still a kid, right? Like, he's in college. He's not, he's not like some 40-year-old guy, crying about a game he wasn't in. Like, right. This is, he's a young guy. This loss basically takes any chance of a national title away, right? Okay. It takes any chance at the Heisman away, really, right? Like, it takes him from being a favorite to winning twice. At the end of the day, the Heisman has so many weird little voting things to it that it's not just stats that get you there. It is team wins and stuff like that. So having those things going against you, like, does he drop from the first pick? Possibly. His team is out of the playoff. It's a 4-team playoff. He's absolutely it's a wrap. That's done. Is he out of the Pac-12 championship picture? Probably. It's probably going to be Washington, Oregon at this point. So, I mean, there's so many things that came out of that game for this kid, all on the same game, right? Like, it'd be one thing. It's like, okay, we lost this game. Now we're out of the title, but we could still get a championship. And then, oh, no, you lose the next game. You're like, okay, well, now we're out of the Pac-12 championship. Maybe my Heisman, whatever. But all of these things hit him in the exact same game. Like, that's a lot to take on, especially after an emotional loss. He had a good game. It was a slugfest to the end, right? Like, it was a track meet the whole way. They put up tons of points on both sides. And so, I mean, there's so many things that came together that, I mean, yeah, I don't have a problem with him getting emotional. I mean, kudos to his mom covering him up with her sign. Like, I mean, just, I don't really get the hate. That was
somebody on the team, I think. I don't think that was her.
Oh, I thought it was her. Either way, right? But it's just like, why are you hating on this kid? Like, he had so many things fall apart in that game that he actually played well in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't get the hate on that. I think some people are just callous enough that they're going to hate on anything. But, I feel bad for him. As a Husky fan, I'm glad to see him catch the L. But in life, you feel bad for him.
Yeah, it feels like we just enjoy piling on people. I don't understand that. Unfortunately, I see it in large part on Twitter. And it's like it's not cool to me. I mean, this kid played his guts out. I mean, you can if you want to get into X's and O's, I mean, he got issues with accuracy. Sure. We've already seen that already. We know that already. He also had one of the biggest critiques, and we'll talk about that a little bit further into this segment, is about his decision making when under pressure. Those kind of thing the NFL scouts they care about, because guess what? Their quarterback's going to be under pressure. It's going to happen. You're going to get blitzed. You know what I'm saying? You're going to see it a lot. So there's going to be a pass rush. How you react to that kind of stuff is important, and he doesn't always react well. That stuff is fair criticism. This is outside. This is outside the pale, man. There's no reason for this stuff. It's like there's so many things that play already. What I hope is not the case is that he played his last game at USC. That's what I hope. My personal hope is I hope that's not the case. Because that's not going to be a good thing for him going to the NFL. You don't want this to be your last memory.
No, I don't think he's packing
your
it up.
Shoulder and you didn't play another game after that. It kind of sends the message that you don't take adversity very well. He needs to come back out here and play next week.
Yeah, I think he's going to.
I hope so.
Every indication made it sound like he's planning on playing the year out.
I hope so.
Yeah, obviously that sends a horrible message, right? Like you're there when things are good, and then if things are bad, you sit down. Like you don't want to send that message anyway. Like if he were to have sat down, well, I can't really relate to it because I want to take every snap humanly possible. So I don't get the let me skip games thing anyway. I want to play every game ever.
Or the load management thing popping up again. That's why I almost can't watch the NBA, because I know this part is going to happen. I'm like, why are we doing this?
It happened in the first game. There was stars not playing. I'm like, how are you tired for the first game?
For what, vacation? Are you kidding? Oh man, let's keep moving, brother. Okay, Alabama. I didn't get a chance to watch the game, but our guys from the Herb and Raj podcast, of course, Herb is part of this show every week. I won't talk about his Twitter feed because he does what Herb does during the game. He says a lot of different things. But Miro had, instead of quarterback, he had 4 rushing touchdowns. Didn't throw for one at all. Had 4 rushing touchdowns, which is pretty interesting. During that game, another Heisman hopeful, LSU's Jaden Daniels, got a concussion. Everybody was blowing up my Twitter feed about that. How it was a dirty hit. And did you get a chance to see the highlight of the hit, Bo? Could you see it?
No, I didn't see any parts of that game, so I won't be able to add a ton to this.
Okay. It doesn't look as though it was helmet to helmet, which is what people were crying about, because usually when that happens, the term dirty hit always comes to the surface then, but that's not what seems to have happened. But it does impact some things, because he is a Heisman hopeful, and missing a game could affect those numbers that you were talking about for Heisman votes. I mean, it's not just production, other stuff too, like you said, but if he misses a game or more, that could be a big blow. And he's definitely in the Heisman discussion. He's not, he's in the top 6, maybe top 5 in the discussion. So he's right there. So definitely, okay, well.
Yeah, I mean, missing a game, that'll pretty much mostly shut that down unless he comes back from it and absolutely lights it up.
All right. Well, I think I'm with Herbal Raj this morning. Good morning, guys. Thanks for again joining us and supporting us. We love you guys. Herbal Raj said, I thought the hit on Daniels was a tough hit, but I don't think it was dirty. Unfortunate, but not dirty. And those calling for targeting just want to turn it thrown out of the game because the hit was flagged and they got the yardage. Okay. Fair assessment. I have no problem with that.
That's the thing that's funny is, hey,
good morning, Mom.
That's the thing that's funny about it is anytime there is a hard hit, right? Immediately there's people that come out and are like, dirty hit. And it's like, just because it's hard doesn't mean it's dirty. Like,
this is the new America, brother.
Like, it's football. That's why there's a chin strap. Like,
this is the new America. You're too mean.
Okay.
You're not nice. You're not including me. You're hitting too hard on the football field. Hit me a little softer. I got kids, I get it. Okay. Good morning to my friend from upstate. Well, upstate New York, Pennsylvania. Got that guy moved around. Good morning, Mike. Good to have you on, man. Thanks for joining us. I got that poll question, Mike. Let me hear some thoughts from you on that poll question. I know you have some thoughts of your own on that one. All right. So Michigan. Not gonna spend a whole lot of time here, but obviously we're hearing a whole lot about them and a representative of the team, former representative now, Connor Stallion, I believe his name is, let go from the team or resigned. I don't know which one actually happened. I heard both things because of alleged sign stealing. Now, for me, you and I discussed this, so I ain't gonna hash it out over and over again. We already talked about it already. You still got to make the plays,
Yep.
no matter what information and data you got. You got to actually make the plays on the field. You got to actually adjust. I'm more concerned about the Harbaugh side of it. That's what I think about more, because I doubt very highly. This is just, I'd be surprised if Harbaugh knew about it and he was cool with it. I've been in a situation that, for example, and this is not justifying anything, and as a Michigan fan, if you tweet me on that, I'm gonna come back at you. That's not what I'm doing. Just want you to know where I'm at. If anybody heard my podcast, especially in the first 2 seasons, I talked a lot about my job with the government, right? When I was there, I couldn't talk about it. But now I can talk about it a little bit because I don't work there anymore. So, a whole lot of confidentiality stuff. But the bottom line is that I was an associate there when I started, of course, and I rose up to upper management with the state government, right? Mm-hmm. You can imagine how that could possibly be. I've seen it so many times, more times than I can count, where people who were in lower to middle management would make decisions arbitrarily. Now, it wasn't something that was a mandate. It was just kind of their own decision and applied it to what we were doing in the office, in the building. And the director would not even know what was happening. All he would know is what we tell him. And it wasn't that I wouldn't try to be deceitful at all, but I was telling him what was actually going on. But there were some members of my peers who felt it made them look better to get the director certain news. Mm-hmm. So they would tell him how they're doing this, how they started this program, and how it's been working, and how productivity is so much better now. Yeah, but the director didn't know all that was really going on. He didn't hear from the people and what they were feeling about the leadership and that kind of stuff. And when he found out, he was like blindsided. I didn't hear about this. You know why? Because all he took was lower to middle management's word on what was actually going on.
I mean, that's why you hire those people.
To me. What you say?
Well, that's why you hire those people, though, is like you're hiring those people to take care of tasks. So you don't necessarily even want to know the ins and outs of everything that's going on, because that's why you hire the people to do those jobs, right? Like if you have to micromanage them, you already have the wrong person there.
Absolutely. I feel like this is kind of part of that. So I wonder, I don't wonder if Harbaugh knew about it. I kind of feel like he didn't, but I wonder if him just dealing with the NCAA again with something else
same year
drive him out of the NFL. You mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. What do you think about that now?
Yeah, well, I mean, so I was reading something yesterday that it sounds like he has an indefinite suspension on the table currently. So it sounds like it hasn't been levied to him yet, but it sounds like that is potentially in the works. And obviously that changes lots of things, right? Because if he has an indefinite suspension, then Michigan will obviously move on, right? Because you need a coach. It also adds an interesting dynamic for a team that is playing exceedingly well on how they react as far as potentially going for a national title. If he gets suspended before the end of the season, now all of a sudden you have some coaching changes. Does Michigan even have a shot at it? I did find it very interesting, though, that the college football playoff said that sounds like an NCAA problem and they don't care about it. So I didn't realize that those two things were so independent of each other.
Me either. I didn't know that.
But so that was interesting to hear. I thought they were a little more in line with each other, and they're just like, yeah, whatever. So
wow,
yeah. So I did not think that was a thing. I thought they were much closer intertwined than they are. But yeah, the playoff picture was basically Sub Diz. The playoff picture is interesting because they were just like, that sounds like an NCAA problem.
Okay,
it's very weird.
Wasn't aware of that. That's definitely new to me. Mr. Disney, what do you mean by this? If Harbaugh, he knew. What does that mean?
So
Harbaugh knows and sees all things. He's just the head coach.
He is a Georgia fan, though.
Well, now here we are. Thank you, Disney, for your interaction with the show. Definitely appreciate it, man. We're gonna keep moving forward if it's okay with you.
So although if you are in the Pacific Northwest, definitely check out Diz. He is our local Rydell rep for helmets. So if you need, so yeah,
finish
zero to do with it.
Promoting Mr. Disney. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I just he has the entire Rydell sports equipment line. He's the Northwest rep. So if you're a local team or anything, that's definitely the guy to check out.
Can't wait to meet you, Diz. All right. Go dogs. All right. Mr. Disney is still leaving comments. I'm gonna come back to him, Diz. I ain't gonna forget about you. We'll comment at the end of the show. You got more comments coming through. Keep them coming, man. We'll discuss it. All right. So, let me get off of that. All right. So, in that regard, I want to kind of jump to some more of the not with a Heisman talk with the quarterbacks going into the draft. The normal names that we've heard: Caleb, obviously, Bo Nix, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix Jr., J.J. McCarthy, and I guess to some degree Shedeur. But I think Shedeur's going to stay in. It's what it sounds like. He's going to stay in until 2025, I guess. That's what it sounds like there. I mean, he has some stellar numbers, but I think he's going to stay in. Now, you talking about Caleb earlier about his we talked about his decision making under pressure. I think it's still a big problem. It's a worthy critique. He had about a little over 4,500 yards, 42 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and he rushed for 10 scores too. So that's kind of part because that's how USC plays. They kind of a lot of offense in the air, if you will. And you don't feel like he's going to be the number one at this point in time. I kind of feel like he's not.
So he still has a good shot. So and here's the thing about his decision making is I can't hate on him a ton for some of the bad decisions because they don't play defense, right? So he has to push the ball all the time because whoever they're playing is going to score a lot of points. And so just about every game they're in, unless it's like some, unranked bad team, then, they beat up on them, obviously. But if they're playing a good team, they got to score every time they touch the ball. So with that in mind, because your defense isn't going to get stops, there's going to be some bad decisions that you are almost forced into making because it's a tight window, but it's third down. You need it, and you're going to push the ball in. Whereas if you knew you could get a stop, maybe you do a layup and you realize you're going to punt and live to play another down. With the way SC plays, they have to score. So, I mean, there's just no getting around it. Because, I mean, imagine if they would have punted a couple of times in this Husky game. Well, it would have got out of hand because they couldn't stop the Huskies from scoring. So it's a scenario where, there's moments of bad decision-making, but when you look at the whole picture of the way the SE is built and how they play, he's almost forced into some of these bad decisions. Not to say that he wouldn't have got to him on his own. I'm sure he would have. So I'm not making that case at all. But some of them aren't necessarily because he was trying to make bad decisions or incapable of making the right decision. Sometimes it's every decision to pull the trigger is a bad one, but he just doesn't have another down because his defense can't get a stop. So I think he gets a pass on some of it. Obviously, some of it is just, bad play, but I mean, that's every quarterback ever. So, I mean, they're all going to make bad decisions at times.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure if he's going to be the de facto number one in this race. He started off that way, and I think that came from his credibility in 2022 more than any game that he actually played. So I kind of I think people wanted him to repeat it more than anybody, than maybe he did himself. I don't know, but I like Drake May there. I kind of said that a couple of weeks. I even like him for our team if he does get drafted by us. I like his discipline. I love his decisiveness. I mean, that's something I look for in a quarterback, especially when you play in a rough town like New York. So I look for that kind of stuff. He's definitely more accurate than Caleb. That's really undeniable. I mean, he fits.
Man, I don't wish your offensive line on any of these kids, though.
No, I'm gonna talk about that. We talk about the Giants. I think we have room for hope after this past week. Forget the Raiders score. I want to talk about something else regarding the line. It's definitely an improvement. Definitely. I like Drake May there. I don't know if he's the number one either, but I like him more than Caleb at the moment. I got everybody's numbers here in front of me. I got Jaden Daniels. I got Michael Penix. I thought I had Nick's numbers. I don't have Nick's or May's number. I got JJ McCarthy's numbers. I don't know how to decide on a Heisman, but I think JJ is pulling up. He doesn't have the numbers that everybody else has, but it's mainly because they rely on the run so much, and Blake Coleman's like scoring 3 touchdowns a game, mostly every game, so he doesn't have to throw as much. When he does, very accurate. He does have lapses at the time, like with Bowling Green. I mean, he does have some lapses. But he's pretty reliable back there in the pocket. He's very smooth, and he doesn't panic and start running. He does a lot of good things there. If he beats Penn State and Ohio State, which I'm not super worried about it, but you want to look good doing that. I think he could be in the top 3 in that group. How do you like the other guys, Penix and Nix and
I think
Daniels there?
I think Penix can win it. Penix can win it. Okay. Well, I think he can. Okay. There's a very clear path for him, because if he can manage to get into the championship game undefeated, right? Not the national title, but the Pac-12 championship game, right? Mm-hmm. If they can get to that point undefeated, especially if they can take down what looks like it'll probably be Oregon for a second time, his stats are right there with everybody else. But then when you look at the strength of schedule, because again, at the end of the day, this is all voting, right? Like it's not like it's just stats. Yeah, and when you look at the strength of schedule, they'll have played more ranked teams than just about anybody in the nation, just because of how many are in the Pac-12, right? I mean, as it sits today, there's still 7 of the Pac-12 in the top 25, which is crazy. So so when you look at how many of those teams that he's had to go in and beat, I think that'll give him an edge when you look at the rest of the stats where they're in line with a couple other quarterbacks, right? Like they're all they're relatively close. So I think something like that can push him over the top in that particular race. And I mean, if he does happen to get into the national title game, his stock on draft day also goes up significantly too, because if you look at him today, he's probably a late first round pick would be my guess. Mid to late is probably about where he lands.
We're talking Penix?
Yeah, for Penix.
Okay.
Whereas, if he wins a natty or, or is in the game at least and produces, performs well, all of a sudden you could see him inside that top 10. So, I mean, these things definitely matter even on draft day. But he has a clear path to win that Heisman.
Yeah, I like him. He has that kind of that gunslinger mentality. I mean, that's kind of good or bad, kind of that. There's been comparisons to Phillip Rivers and Matthew Stafford. I think that kind of makes sense. What I don't like is his injury history.
Sure.
He already had 2 torn ACLs already in a shoulder. I'm like, the medical is going to be really fun for the NFL to look at.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to feel about that. I mean, I don't know if you can remember everybody that's come through that's been injured in college. For example, we talked about Chase Young last week. We'll talk about him again today.
Yeah,
was injured a lot. The list goes on and on about players that have been off injured. Another one, Odell Beckham, off injured in college, come NFL, and you know what? They can't keep it together. Yeah, it's like they're in the same patterns and whatnot. I'm hoping it's not going to happen to him. I don't speak that over the man, but this is not a good.
I mean, I guess the one thing that's different now than it used to be is if you had an ACL you might come back. If it was an Achilles, your career was over. And now, medical has gotten so much better that I don't know if they worry about an ACL quite the way they used to.
Okay.
Achilles are still scary, right? Because you can lose a step.
Still a year,
Now.
man.
So I mean, he's a quarterback, so it would matter less than if he was, a wide receiver or something like that. But at the end of the day, I think teams are less worried about an ACL tear than they used to be. That being said, they're going to look at the injury history, and that is something that could make him slide. He's a little bit older than some of the other guys that can make him slide. So I mean, there's elements to it, right? I mean, that's why Stetson Bennett didn't go higher after winning 2 national titles, right? He goes in it was a late 3rd round, I think, is where he ended up getting drafted, something like that. So I mean, age plays a role, but
we'll see what happens, man. So sound like you like Penix for the Heisman, and I'm gonna stick with May for now. We'll see. We could end up both being wrong. Ready for the power rankings?
Probably will both be wrong. Yeah, let's do it.
Go. What you got? Going from 1 to 10 or 10 to 1?
I'm gonna go 1 to 10. So there is some movement on it this week. So I have the Eagles still at number 1. I have the Ravens jumping up to number 2. That may be the most complete team in football right now. And not just because they absolutely worked the Seahawks, but they did something very similar to a Lions team that bounced right back and played great football. So all of a sudden they're doing this to good teams, and it's not like they caught them on a bad week or they started to slide or something like that. Like they're catching good teams and beating them up. So that has them jump up a few spots into number 2. I have the Lions at 3.
Wow.
They look good. They look good. I got KC at 4. I got the Dolphins at 5. I have the Jags jumping up to number 6. I have the Cowboys at 7. I have the Bengals reaching my top 10 for the first time at number 8. And then I have the Niners and Seahawks rounding out 9 and 10 respectively. Yeah.
Who's at 10?
I have the Hawks at 10. So even though they got beat down yesterday, I didn't pull them off because, again, we've seen the Ravens beat up people, and those teams have survived and looked great after that. So that's just a testament to how good the Ravens are, not a detraction from how good the team they beat up was. So when we go forward into, next week, in theory, they should be able to cruise through Washington. But then you have the Rams again, not a gimme, right? And then you move into the Niners, the Cowboys, the Niners, the Eagles. Like, they have a gauntlet of games. That'll tell us a lot about this Seahawks team. Was this 500-yard just debacle that they gave up yesterday what that defense really is, or are the Ravens that good? And so we don't know yet.
All right. We can't have ties in the power rankings, right?
Ideally, no, but like I get where you're at because there's some other teams that could live at 10.
Yeah, I'm struggling with that one. I'm gonna start from 1 because I am struggling with 10. I'll start from 1. So I got the Eagles at 1. Numbers don't lie. They're doing it. It's not always cute, but they're doing it. 2 with Ravens there. So I agree with you. They're probably the most complete team, like you said. I love they're doing on all sides, even special teams. They look great. Your prediction is looking really good right now, but I'm kind of happy.
I know, right?
I got the Chiefs at 3. Even though they are not doing what they did in years past, where they're beating the brace off folks. I think they're kind of coming down from that a little bit, but they're still winning. They're still winning competently. So I can't fault them for not looking pretty. No, I got the Jags at 4. I didn't want to penalize them for being on a bye week, but they're looking really good. I think it's 6-2. I think it is. They're looking really good on all sides. Trevor Lawrence is looking really good. I got the Lions at 5. They got the Dolphins dropping at 6, and they're dropping like a stone. I wanted to be even harder than that. Because the thing that we talked about early in the season, now we're starting to see it play out with defense. It's like, wow, we saw it the whole time. How'd you guys didn't see it? But I got the Niners at 7. I kept them where they want to penalize them, but the Cowboys dropped to 8. I think that was kind of warranted based on what we've been seeing lately. Got the Bengals for the first time, like you, in the top 10 at 9. They're looking really good. I want to take them higher, but I need to wait another week to see what happens because they could jump to 6 in my rankings depending on how they play next week. And the last one is the one that's the toughest. I didn't know where to go with that, but I took the Bills at 10.
Okay.
I didn't knock them completely out. I think that the way things are looking right now, the Dolphins might end up not even winning the division if this continues to keep going the way it's been looking. So we'll see. But
no, I had
games down, man. Huh?
Well, I had just knocked Bills off my top 10.
Yeah.
I mean, they're third in their division.
Third?
Yeah. Because the Jets haven't played yet.
No, that's not how that works, brother. Okay, so
no. Because mathematically, the win percentage has them sitting in third. But when the Jets lose today, then they'll be back in second.
Yeah. That's what I'm anticipating. I want you to try doing with the bet on this one. At least I hope not. All right. I'm not going to break down the Rams and the Packers. I want to talk to you about something here because there's been a lot of chat about Jordan Love and whether they've seen enough from him, all coming from Brian Gutekunst, of course. I don't think this is an easy answer, though, because when Favre came in and Aaron Rodgers came in, they took over. They had experienced linemen. They had wide receivers that were experienced. Jordan Love had David Bakhtiari out for the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you pronounce it. Elgton Jenkins, List and Stella on the line, to say the least. And management didn't even try to find a reliable veteran wide receiver for him, so they left him with Romeo Doubs, Toure, and Christian Watson. And in the presser recently, he admitted that the wide receivers haven't been getting it done. I mean, what were you expecting exactly? You didn't give Love a lot to work with. I mean, anytime we said the same thing about Bryce Young, Stroud, everybody else that was a rookie quarterback. You give them reliable pieces because they are rookies. Their first time doing this on this level. You got to get them something stable. Most times it's a tight end most of the time, but sometimes a stable wide receiver who's a veteran that, is competent in running routes and catching passes, getting 50-50 balls. Give the guy a chance. I don't think they did that with him. So I don't know how it's going to work out for Love and it didn't work out for Aaron Rodgers. So it's like he's on the contract until 24, which I didn't know. So did Love do enough to maintain his job, or are they looking for somebody else at the end of the day? What do you think?
I mean, so I don't think he did enough to be safe. Like he had a decent, efficient day, right? Like it was nothing to write home about. 20 for 26. That's a good day, right?
I mean, overall, the whole season.
No, I know, but I mean, for him, it's an evolution, right? Because some people are treating this as his rookie season, right? Like he's been on the team for now 3 years, but this is his first full season under center. So they're kind of treating it that way. But I don't know that you're seeing the growth throughout the season because, yeah, he had a decent, efficient day against a Rams team that started ripping at quarterback because Stafford's hurt, right? They have some other injuries. The Rams aren't exactly a juggernaut of a team, right? Like it's not like they came in and played a top-notch team. They played what's ultimately going to be a right around 500 team. You should be able to win those games. So I don't think he showed enough. Obviously, the score looks pretty good for this particular game, but I do think that the Packers could be kicking the tires on, are they going to draft somebody? Because they're all of a sudden they're going to have a draft pick that's probably higher than they thought they were going to. Or maybe they go get a veteran, or, I mean, tough to say what they want to do. But I think based on some of the comments that they've put out and the production that they've had, I don't know that they think Love is their guy.
Fair enough. Good morning, Raj. One half of the Herb and Raj podcast on every Tuesday evening at 9 a.m. I'm sorry, 9 p.m. EST, you guys. 9 p.m. Not 9 in the morning like us. 9 p.m. EST every Tuesday morning. Herb and Raj podcast. Please check it out on Twitter and, of course, on YouTube. Good morning, Raj. Good to have you in the house, brother.
Yep.
Well, I'm just wondering, I kind of don't feel like Love had enough chances. Sitting behind Rodgers wasn't really the same thing as a chance.
Yeah.
to put him out here in that kind of environment, I think it's kind of rough. Now they're going to start all over again with somebody with Bakhtiari who seemed to get hurt every single year, it feels like. I won't spend a lot of time on it, man, because we don't have that much, but I don't think
I was just gonna say it's funny because he's getting a lot of hate for not playing great within this system, right? And like to your point, he's had guys get hurt, but I guess we're just gonna ignore the fact that Rodgers didn't play great with this group either.
No, we're not ignoring it. I said that a little while ago. It's not. How do you expect Love to do good with something that Aaron Rodgers, a veteran, didn't do good with? It's not fair to anybody. It's not an ideal situation. So you're going to penalize him for that? Yeah. I find that hard to understand, but
I think they will.
Another t-shirt. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I think they will penalize him for it, but I think it's short-sighted. That being said, I don't think he's the answer, right? Like I think he's decent. I don't think he's the next step of the Favre Rodgers, you're just going to have Hall of Famers under center forever. Like he's not that guy. I don't think, at least I haven't seen anything that makes me think he is, but to be fair, Peyton Manning didn't exactly light it up his first year either. So
we forget that kind of stuff in the moment, don't we? But it's all good. What's your game you got? What you breaking down?
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm going to talk a little bit about this Seahawks terrible.
You are. Go ahead.
But no, let's start with KC and the Dolphins, the Germany game. It was a game where I thought the Dolphins had a shot because they went early. Historically, teams that go early do better, and KC jumped out. Right? They jumped right out. I think they were up 21-7. I think. Like just real quick. It's just like, oh man, this is going to get out of hand. But yeah, I mean, and then the Dolphins battle their way back and then they end up basically just giving the game away at the end, but they had a shot to tie it back up. So I liked a little bit of the resiliency that I saw out of this Dolphins team that we haven't necessarily seen all season. And obviously the defense for KC is the thing that is playing better than the offense, which is not something we're used to seeing for KC, right? It used to be that offense would carry the defense because their defense was a liability. And so far this year, the offense really has kind of struggled to be consistent, and the defense has either kept them in or helped them win games. So going overseas, they're always a lower scoring game. But it was good to see that defense again for KC because they just haven't had a great one, over the last few years for them to pull that win out, even though I picked the Dolphins in this game.
I did not pick the Dolphins. I didn't think that was going to be a good idea, and I see why. Stuff I've been seeing about Miami that you and I've been talking about almost every week.
Yep.
It played itself out again. Even in Germany, still the same team going out there. It's like, yeah, you can only outrun people, but for so long, you got to play defense at some point, and I think it kind of played a big part. Well, the game I want to talk about is gonna be my game of the week. I'm going on record about that. We got other shows that we do together. We talk about the game of the week. This is it. I'm going to say it every time. The Buccaneers and the Houston Texans. This is the kind of game that makes me happy about football. That makes me enjoy what this actually is. I mean, for some people, it's an escape from their mundane lives. To be people are reliving their former glory because they didn't get a chance to play professional football and they lived through this. They lived through fantasy football. This is one of those kind of games, man. I mean, look at this is crazy. Their kicker, Jaime Fairbairn went out with a quad. All right, so they didn't have a kicker at all. Nobody. Ogun Bawali used to play with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I remember him. He was a fourth string wide receiver or running back at Tampa. He's out here kicking punts. he was their punter as soon as Fairbairn went out the game. He hit a 29-yard field goal.
Yep.
His very first one. I loved it. He's a former football player and soccer player, but he didn't play any of these positions here. So it was like it was incredible. I mean, if I had any issues with my love of football, this game revived it, man. Dalton Schultz, who I love, I just loved him when he was with that. Even though I hate Dallas, I loved him when he was on that team, and I used to watch him in fantasy. I love Dalton Schultz. That man was making a case for a big contract yesterday. What's your point, man? Go ahead.
Well, so I was just gonna say, imagine if he was like starting, right? Like a starting receiver or something. Imagine your fantasy line because he kicked a field goal.
You're gonna win that. You're gonna win that week.
Well, I mean, just how weird would that stat line look? Because right, because you just randomly have a field goal in there.
It would be weird. I mean, Dalton Schultz, man, he made Levante Davis look like a little baby. He shoved. This game was incredible on every level, man. They went for two so many times because they didn't have a kicker. So they went for two, and I think only they were 1 for 3 in 2-point conversion. Tank Dell, remember that name? Because that man he went nuts. Nico Collins, go blue, stepped up really big, man. Stroud had over 400 yards. I think he had 455.
470. 470 yards, 5 touchdowns.
I had 445. I don't know where I got that from, but he was incredible. At the end of that game, in those last seconds, I know nobody really thought that Stroud was going to come back because he's a rookie. Rookie don't really do that. This man went out there with seconds. I think they had about 6 seconds left. Went out there, drove the field. I mean, did what he wanted to do with the deep pass. Incredible goal route to Baker. I mean, that's what I talk about the boy Baker. They came back, and Baker hit a goal route to Evans for 53 yards in the fourth. We're like, oh boy, they had the lead. Said, uh-oh. And I think the Stroud story is over for today. These boys drove down the field, 6 seconds left, Tank Dell touchdown, won the game, man.
Yep.
This is not the game of the week. Tell me what game it was, man. This is incredible.
No. It was a fun game.
This game was amazing.
Yeah, no, it was a fun game to watch. And of course, it looked like Baker was gonna come back and win it at the end, right? Like they didn't leave a ton of time. They marched down the field, they punch it in. You're just like, oh, all right, the veteran's gonna make it happen. And then Stroud comes out and quickly moves them right down the field, and they punch it in. You're just like, oh, wow, okay. Stroud's that dude.
I thought you had to say something nice about Baker today. I thought that wouldn't be the plan. You know what? You got to be nice about Baker today. And guess what? You avoided the issue. You got to deal with it.
No. I mean, he put together a great final drive, right? Like they moved the ball methodically down the field. He was sharp in his passes. Like, I mean, he did everything you could have wanted him to do. He didn't hardly leave any time. The story to that is Stroud obviously balled out to make it happen, but you also got to look at that Tampa defense. Like, how do you let that happen? You don't have to defend it for very long. So but kudos to CJ Stroud. Like he lit it up. 470 yards is insane. Like that is so much.
Absolutely. Yeah, CJ Stroud, baby. Wow.
Yep.
And some guys joining in, a friend of yours and mine.
Yep.
Smoking Jay in the house. Good morning, Jay.
How's it going, man?
Thanks for jumping in, man. We love you, man. Appreciate you so much. All right, so what's your next game, brother?
Yeah, so I mean, we got to talk about this Hawks Ravens game before we run out of time.
Oh yes, sir. I knew that was going to
so yeah, let me.
How much time are you going to take on
that? Not a ton because it's sad.
Keep your head up, brother. Go ahead, man.
No, I mean, it happens. It's football, right? So the biggest thing is if you had watched my my Hawk Talk segment on Friday, one of the things that I was laying out in that show is the Hawks can win this game, but the biggest elements of this is you got to be able to contain Lamar, which they did not do. Like that was That was one of the biggest things they had to shut down. And Lamar was just running all over them. And then I was talking about being able to stop the run because they hadn't faced any teams that had real running games. And now you're facing a team with a real running game and a dynamic quarterback. And, the biggest thing going into this game is they were giving up 5.1 yards a rush to quarterbacks, and they hadn't played an athletic quarterback yet. Right. So they were ranked 31st against a running quarterback, and their most athletic quarterback they played was a Burrow with a hurt calf. So he wasn't even running. So going into it, I was just like, oh man, they could get burned on this. And they did. They got worked specifically in that area. I mean, they gave up almost 300 yards rushing. Lamar went off running as well. So even though I took the Hawks to win this game in an upset,
really, bro,
I'm not things. No. I mean, the things that I was laying out on Friday, I was just like, oh man, this is how they lose if they can't shut this down. And then I watched 3 hours of exactly that.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to try to go through the Giants and the Raiders. Normally, I won't touch the Giants game, especially when it looks like this. I'll let Bo or Herb do it, so I won't have to go through the anxiety and relive it all. But guess what? Here we are. So this might indeed be the most catastrophic season that I can remember. I'm not quite – the Joe Judge era was traumatizing, but I don't know. This is another level for me because I'd rather them say, you know what, we're tanking, and that's why we look like crap. I'd rather them admit that than let me believe that you're trying to win games, which is kind of something it's hard to believe that. If you got 3 quarterbacks, you got none. So for me, there's so many issues with this game and with the team. One, the Daniel Jones hatred. I'm not buying his jersey. I was never really that invested. He's a Giant, so he gets all the love and respect from me that you can get. Once a Giant, always a Giant. I always say that. But I don't think he was the future. As a matter of fact, I thought the contract that he got was kind of smart because it put him in a reasonable place, but still under the quarterbacks that should have a higher price tag, so to speak. But I never wanted him to get injured. Yeah. We got fans that are on my Twitter feed, specifically probably on yours too, wanting him to be knocked out. And I mean, okay.
I mean, his coach seems like he wants him knocked out.
He came in and got knocked out. So now we got Tommy DeVito and Matt Barkley now. Is that what you wanted? I mean, something else to complain about. I mean, he got re-injured trying to come back into the game. Maybe he shouldn't have been there. But now it looks like his season and perhaps his career in New York is done.
Yeah.
I mean, this is actually a special brand of idiots out there right now that think drafting Caleb is going to solve the whole thing. Caleb can't fix this. It's all the problem. They're not really at quarterback. So there's a lot more to fix than that. But it's not what people are saying. Like you were saying earlier, and I want to come back to that. As much as firing anybody feels justified sometimes, it's really not in this case. We got a star left tackle who I'm pretty high on when he's healthy. Star DT and Dexter Lawrence. I love our center Schmitz. I love our cornerback Banks. I think we got solid answers at left guard and right guard. Now I say that because this past week, probably the best lineup we ever had. We had Bredesen at right guard, I believe it was. We had Justin Tubac at left guard.
They still gave up 8 sacks though. I mean, like it can't be that good of a lineup. Dude got sacked 8 times.
Can I say one word? I don't be calling interrupting you at all.
I didn't want to, but
I ain't saying the line was good. It's the most continuity we had at that spot since we started. That's all.
That's fair.
I don't understand. Thomas been out for like how many games he's been out? This is his first game back.
Yeah.
I ain't looking for perfection. I just want continuity. Too many people moving in and out. Got Tyree moving in and out. I don't want all that. I want to have anyway. And if we keep Barkley, we have a generational running back there. I mean, the focus should be at talking about drafting. It should be quarterback. I believe that. Wide receiver for sure. And Evan Neal, he's pretty much on everybody's Christmas list without the niceties. So we need to find a right tackle for sure, and maybe some O-line depth so we can have stability when somebody does inevitably get hurt. But I don't think it's replace everybody. I don't. As bad as this team has looked, I don't feel like that. That's kind of overreaction. We had 6 first downs in the first half. It's not great. 19 passing yards, 2 picks, and our schedule is going to be Dallas, the Commanders, the Patriots, the Packers, the Saints, the Eagles twice, and the Rams. I said it from the very beginning. I said and you and I was on the show together. And the host blasted me because I said that we can have 9 or 10 wins. I can count the wins right now, but I didn't know we wasn't going to have a quarterback.
Yeah.
I can count 5 wins on that kick I just laid out just now, but we don't have a quarterback though.
Yeah.
So it's just not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, the O-line stuff couldn't have been that bad because Saquon Barkley had 5.6 yards per carry. That's more than he's had all year. So that tells me that there was an improvement in the line despite the sacks. But you know what? I want them to just say it. Stay with tanking.
Yeah.
Stay with we're not trying to win because the players are sitting there thinking that from what I'm hearing, they're feeling like, we're trying to win, but they get mixed messages. And I heard a tweet today, I saw a tweet today from one of the players, I think it was a defensive guy, saying that there's a problem with communication with the leadership. I'm like, where we heard that before recently? People had communication problem with leadership.
I mean,
in Las Vegas.
What's that?
In Las Vegas, for one.
Exactly. I was going to say the Raiders because, they got that coach out the building because of it. The Bears sure look like they're going that way.
I don't know.
I mean, does he become the second NFL coach to win Coach of the Year and get fired the next year?
There's a good chance, man. I mean, there's always been chatter from Buffalo from the start. I didn't see it until 3 weeks ago, though.
Yep.
But there's been chatter about how he's a good OC and that kind of stuff, but they didn't see the other part. They didn't see the head coaching potential there.
Yeah, no, I mean, the biggest thing for the Giants on my end is that offensive line it's amazing how much your quarterbacks are getting hit. Because there's elements of your team that are good. I mean, they're buildable elements of the team. That offensive line, though, I don't know that there is a quarterback that would have done well behind the line. I mean, you can't get hit that much and be expected to win a lot of games.
Yeah. I wish we had time to go into the Bills and the Bengals and the Cowboys and the Eagles, but I don't think we have it. I want to talk about Taylor Rapp so much. That was one of the funniest things I seen that game last night. That man made a business decision. He said he's seen 6'5", 265 pounds Drew Sample coming at him. He said, "You know what? I'm making a business decision. I ain't gonna tackle him. I'm gonna go after his ankles."
Yep.
And Sample skipped all over him into the end zone. 21-7 Bengals with 1 minute left. That was well. I had time to talk about that, I guess, but not the whole game. But that was fun. That was a good game.
No, and I mean, one of the things I liked, it was against your Giants, but I liked the revival of this Raiders team. Right? They had that fire a coach energy bump. Right? The thing that was funny is after that game, right? They're having victory cigars, right? And why I was laughing about it is in the scheme of things, that win is empty calories. They're not going anywhere. So was that really celebrating the win, or was that really celebrating football might be fun again in Vegas because they got rid of McDaniels?
I think it's more of the latter, but
yeah,
you can't be celebrating beating us. I'm like, that's you're like 5 minutes away from where we are right now. So whatever.
No, that's my point. Is I think it was more of a celebratory. McDaniels is out of the room, and we might actually like football again.
Well, I love Pierce, so sorry it was at our expense, but totally good with that. All right, so let's jump into the poll question real quick and get your take on it really quickly in our comments, and then we're going to go ahead and say bye-bye. All right, so our poll question was, which recently traded NFL player will have the biggest impact on his team? Which recently traded NFL player will have the biggest impact on their team? We got this question up on LinkedIn, Facebook, and of course on the Twitter. Did you have a thought about that?
Oh, I was going to say let's see what people came in with.
All right. Well, let's see. We got Josh Jobs. Long morning. Sorry, guys.
I figured this one was going to pop up because he won.
Game, so it's easy. I would go with Chase Young. Yeah, I mean, they got him for a third. I mean, add back a healthy Debo and Trent Williams, and it's already a much better team already. So just adding Chase Young to it, just for a rental. That's an incredible find there. I don't have a whole lot of those there. So let me just see if there's any more comments regarding that. A whole lot of Giant stuff. All right. Smoking Jay said DPJ, go blue, baby. So we all saw Sweat wasn't good yesterday. Okay, come on, Jeremy. Now that was his first game with the team. He had 2 tackles. I mean, what do you expect?
He's the only thing they upgraded. Like that would be like you're driving some junker and you put really shiny rims on it. It's still a junker.
Yeah, but they have one of the worst pass rushers in the entire NFL.
For sure.
That was an upgrade. I think he'll look better in a few games. I would hope so. If he has still 2 tackles like this, then I agree, Jay. We got a problem. Yeah. And I loathe the Bears. Yeah, I noticed why I totally understand why that comment was made. Totally
because Lions guy.
Who do you like there, Bo? Who do you like there?
Yeah, I mean, I like what the Niners did. Pairing Chase with Bosa. I mean, that's going to make the biggest impact because now you can't just double team Bosa coming through. You have to account for Chase Young. I think he's probably going to give the biggest impact of the guys that were moved around. Either that or it'll be Williams for the Seahawks when he comes in, because we just saw a team put up 300 yards rushing. So it's not that he's a great, run stopping guy. His claim to fame is actually pass rush, but it would still be an upgrade from what we currently had. So when him and Frank Clark get dialed in, if we see that running game get slowed down, those are the 2 guys that probably have the best chance to make the most impact on their new teams.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead. I was thinking about Sweat. I mean, he had 6.5 sacks this season before he went to the team, so I kind of felt like that would be more of a continuous situation. But I'm going to go with Dobbs.
Okay.
Right now, they got Nick Mullins out on IR. I'm not sure if he's eligible for return or not. I have no idea.
I think he's still a couple weeks out.
Okay, you got the rookie Jaron Hall, who I'm not sure they're ready to put out there. I mean, what I saw from those Vikings, but the fans, especially, but the players and the coaches, them bad boys was the best word I can find is elated, and they were happy. They were happy with what he did, especially in the 4th quarter. They were happy with what he did, and it was like, if he wasn't there, what would they have? He's almost like the MVP already. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, he's gonna have the biggest impact because most of the impact that you have on a football game comes from the quarterback. So I got to pick a quarterback in this one. So I'm going with Dobbs, but time is getting short on this, man. So let's jump into these comments and see what we got going on here. All right, Herb and Watch Podcast says, I don't recall this much outcry when Bryce Young got hit by Tennessee last year and no call at all. Because it's Alabama, people like to believe we get away with everything. Okay. I can relate to that. I can definitely relate to that. Definitely. All right. I think the AP poll will sort itself out. Michigan about to play Penn State, and they end with Ohio State. That's all that matters for them. Yeah, I wanted to get some time to go into the AP poll, but just we can't make it happen. It's just not enough time for it. All right. I think it's relating to Caleb Williams, I guess. Everybody wants the players to care more than they show emotion. People come down on them. It makes no sense.
Agreed.
More from the Herb and Watch Podcast. Social media has made it so much easier to pile on. A lot of unhappy people out there. Ain't that the truth, brother? Amen. And they just say whatever they want to make themselves feel better.
Yeah, it's because they know they can't get punched in the face for saying stupid stuff.
Herb, okay, what's Herb talking about? Michigan started this scandal just so colleges will go to making the calls through the helmet like the pros do. Kudos to them. This is a master plan. You think this is a master plan? Huh? They orchestrated this so they can have comms in their helmet.
We're putting on our tinfoil hats here. We got conspiracy theories going.
Super conspiracy theory right here, brother. But we love you. Can't wait to have you back on the show next Monday. Mr. Disney.
Oh, see, I thought you fired him.
No, I didn't fire anybody. You didn't fire the guys of the Giants. That's what I wanted to do. Mr. Disney says Harbaugh. He knew. All right. Okay. Got some love.
Even if you didn't know, you're the head of the organization, so you're going to go down for it.
Fair enough. That's okay. But I seen upper management that had no idea what's going on.
No, but they still get burned.
Yeah, that didn't happen in my old job, but whatever.
Okay. Well, the government's harder to get fired from.
Michael said, "Go Dogs!" All right, we know who you down. I already know who you down with already, so that's not even news to me. Mr. Disney says, as a former head coach, program director, etc., he knew. All right. Apparently, he doesn't care. All right. Michael says Caleb Williams can't win a big game, especially when it matters. This is the Georgia fan now, so I'm just listening here. Brock Bowers for Heisman. I heard that many times, but I don't see his name in the list. Have you? Mm-hmm. You seen Brock Bowers? Is it just homerism at work here, Michael?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Is that what it's okay? That's what it feels like. All right. Mr. Disney says, with how bad QBs are playing and getting injured this year, I see him as the top 5. I think he's talking about Caleb, right?
Yeah, and I think he's still a top 5. Yeah, absolutely. He just may not go number 1 overall. That being said, Marvin Harrison Jr. might be the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, I'd be surprised by that one. That would tell me that the person who has the first pick is not taking the quarterback. That's the only way that happens to me.
Well, and it's probably the Bears. And if they're doubling down on Fields, they take Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, they sure have been they've been doing a good job of keeping it close to the vest, because I haven't heard that whatsoever. It's kind of like a maybe not type of deal. If they do that and they get Marvin Harrison, that's going to be an incredible pick. Raj, one half of the Herb and Raj podcast, on again every Tuesday evening at 9 p.m. EST, 8 p.m. CST. Disappointed in my feelings because we continue to lose against good teams. Glad Cincy won last night, though. They sure did. I was happy for them, too. They played fantastic.
Yeah, the Dolphins, they got to find a defense. They're not going to go anywhere in the playoffs if they can't figure that out.
Do they have time to do that? The trade deadline just passed.
I mean, there's free agents out there.
Oh, yeah? Show me a list.
It's not going to be great, but it can't be worse.
I know that's right. Like, show me a list. I want to see that, pal. Jordan Love reminds me of Jason Campbell. I don't even... Mike, you know I love you, man. Me and you go back more than 10 years, brother, but I don't see this. I don't see it. All right. Kneecap. What's up, peeps? All right. The offense for KC misses a consistent pass catcher.
True. They drop a lot of balls.
Yeah. That's not going to work in the playoffs. I'll tell you that right now. That game was lit. Congrats to CJ Stroud, 470 yards. How did I get 455? 470 yards and 5 touchdowns with no interceptions. That man looked like he was
balling out.
World beater.
Hey, and I appreciated it because he was my quarterback in fantasy.
Oh my goodness.
So he lit it up.
All right. This is for you, I think. Seahawks left their offense on the plane.
Yeah, they left their defense on the plane too.
Okay. Kind of like the Lions. This is the big Lions fan. This man is Detroit all the way. So him saying it means a lot.
Well, I mean, we both got worked by the Ravens.
Yeah, I wish we had time, Jeremy, to go into those, because I want to talk about the Cowboys-Eagles games specifically. Everybody,
and I wanted to talk about how bad the Patriots are. Like, they couldn't beat a team that just got rid of half their defense.
Yeah, somebody's getting fired. Yeah, Cowboys and Eagles. Yeah, everybody wants me to jump on the bandwagon, or they think they assume I will about Dak, but I can't put this on Dak, man. This is It's not Cowboys being Cowboys, man. The Eagles their pass rush was where it needed to be at the right time. Simple as that. Dak didn't do anything wrong. He had no picks in this game, as a matter of fact. And Bo and I expect him to have picks. I don't think he had any.
The thing that's funny about that one is there were two different plays that changed the complete complexion of this game, right? There's that one catch by the tight end where he's half a yard short. And then there was the 2-point conversion where the tip of his toe hits the out of bounds marker before the ball crosses the plane. Mm-hmm. If he gets that 2-point conversion, they kick a field goal at the end. We're in overtime. So, I mean, it's that could have been a very different game based on 18 inches of ball placement over two different plays.
Oh, yeah. All right, we got a lot more comments. Let's keep it moving. All right, so a damn shame about Danny Pesos. He isn't good enough to be called Dimes anymore.
Oh, man.
Well, cool to get me to say damn on the podcast, but I wouldn't normally do that. So good job, Jeremy. You got me. The Giants need the interior O-line. Yeah, you're right. Build the trenches first and then get the quarterback. Yep. Yeah. At this point, we don't have time for that now. Now we need to get both at the same time.
Yep.
8 sacks and 17 pressures.
Brutal.
Always rely on you for the stats, man. Thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate it. Still say Evan should play left guard like he did his freshman year at Alabama. Yeah. I don't see how that works on this team. I like Pugh better than I do him, but I don't know. I guess we'll see what. Ooh. All right. So, thanks again, Jeremy, man, for jumping in, man. You did awesome.
Yep.
Love and appreciate you, man. Rod said I seen some nice junkers with shiny rims. Which team are we talking about? All right. Mr. Disney is not letting the Harbaugh thing go. It's his job. I mean, to know.
It is his job. It is his job. Okay. And that's why I say, if something bad happens, the CEO is who goes down for it. Even if they didn't know, they're the ones in charge.
Bo, Mr. Disney, real quick, what's the punishment for this? What do you want to happen to Harbaugh? Because those players that are out there, they didn't do anything here.
Yeah.
So if you think Harbaugh did, what's the punishment where it's fair?
Well, I mean,
it was happening to you. What would you say?
At the end of the day, he's going to get forced out, and he's going to be fine. He's going to go to the NFL. He's going to be fine. It's a bummer for these kids because now they're going to be without their head coach going into the toughest time of the year, and they want to try and win, and that's going to be harder to do without Harbaugh on the side. Even though I don't love him as a coach, he wins. So,
fair enough. And Mr. Disney says no, Penix. I guess that's his.
About the Heisman.
The Heisman. He thinks Penix should be there.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know that he wins. I just think he has a clear path.
Okay. I'm not sure if he's saying no, Penix is not going to win, or he thinks he should win. I'm not quite sure on that one. But no worries there. But fantastic show as usual, man. Heard we miss you, brother. Hope all is well out there in the workforce and all you got going on. Any closing thoughts, brother? The floor is yours, man.
No, it was a good week of football. There was a lot of exciting games. Glad to see that Herb didn't get fired, so that's cool.
I can't fire you guys. You guys are my friends, man. I don't fire friends, man.
But yeah,
crazy. I still don't fire y'all. Y'all take pot shots at me for no reason, unprovoked stuff, and try to embarrass me in my own show. But I don't ever say anything back. I just take this stuff from y'all. I don't fire anybody.
Yeah, bring it back. But it was a good week.
You guys start doing better. How about that? There's a thought. Maybe you can do better. Maybe you can treat me better. Got a plan?
I mean, we're not taking shots at you. We're just watching football.
Oh yeah, right. When it's your team, oh my God, you guys have a cow. If I tore down the Seahawks in Alabama.
Tear them down. I'll tear them down too.
No, not like I would.
Bring it.
I'll bring it down. Oh,
bring the heat.
Say bye.
I want all that smoke.
No, you don't. Say
do.
Bye, Bo. Say goodbye to everybody.
Have a good one, guys.